All right, today we're pulling back the curtain on a tactical obsession that's quietly running modern football. It's called rest defense, and it's the invisible architecture that decides the biggest matches. Seriously, once you see it, you'll never watch a game the same way again. Let's dive in. It all boils down to a question that seems almost too simple. When one team is on the attack, what are all the other players on that team doing? Are they just watching? Kind of catching their breath? The answer is a huge, emphatic no, and it's the key to this whole thing. What they're doing is organizing the rest defense. Now, the term comes from the German Restverteidigung, and the name can be a little misleading in English. Rest doesn't mean they're taking a break. It means the rest of the players. They're the ones building the foundation that allows the attack to happen in the first place. So that brings up a good question. Why is it so critical to be thinking about defending when you have the ball? I know it sounds like a total paradox, but in today's game, it's the absolute bedrock of any top team. It's because a rock-solid rest defense is the ultimate safety net. Think of it like this. The more secure that structure is behind the ball, the more freedom your creative geniuses have to take big risks and try to make magic happen up front. Without that safety net, even the best attackers in the world are just playing on a tightrope with no protection. Some coaches have even tried to nail it down to a hard number. The coach, José Gomes, came up with what he called the rule of 7. It's simple. At all times, even when you're about to score, 7 of your players, and yeah, that includes the keeper, have to be in a position to kill a counterattack. They might not touch the ball for ages, but their positioning makes everything else possible. And if you want proof, just look at the data. A team like Manchester City is a masterclass in this. They keep an incredible 78% of their defensive shape while they're attacking. They're literally defending before they even lose the ball. And what does that get them? Well, because they're already in position, they can snatch the ball back in less than 5 seconds after they lose it. This isn't just sitting back and waiting. No. This is an aggressive, suffocating system designed for total control. It's not passive, it's proactive. So how do they actually build these structures? Well, it's not random at all. In fact, it's all about geometry. The shapes they make are totally deliberate based on the team's formation and overall strategy. Okay, first up, one of the most common shapes you'll see, the 2-3 structure. This pops up a lot with teams that use an inverted fullback. All that means is a defender who tucks into the midfield when his team has the ball. This creates a really solid 5-player block right there in the middle. The big advantage here is pretty obvious. You build this massive wall right down the center of the field, making it super hard for the other team to break through the middle. But and there's always a but in tactics, the trade-off is that the wide areas, the flanks, can be left wide open if the opponent is quick enough to switch the play. All right, next we've got the 3-2 structure. And as you can probably guess, this is the natural shape that comes from playing with 3 central defenders. You get a base of 3 defenders with 2 midfielders screening them just ahead. The huge benefit here is something coaches call the +1 advantage. It's simple math, really. If the other team attacks with 2 forwards, you've got 3 defenders. You always have a spare player. This is exactly the kind of tactical insurance you want when you're facing down someone as deadly as Kylian Mbappe. And if you want a really modern twist, look at what Luis Enrique has been doing with PSG. They've used a 3-1 structure, so that's 3 defenders, but with only 1 single midfielder sitting in front of them, acting as a shield. That one player becomes incredibly important. When it works, it's beautiful. That one player can shut down all the passing lanes and basically act as a conductor for the whole defensive transition. But the flip side, wow, the pressure on that one person is just immense. If they make a mistake or get bypassed, the whole house of cards can come tumbling down. Okay, so we've got the shapes down, we've got the 2-3, the 3-2, the 3-1. But there are 2 totally different philosophies on how you actually use them. It's not just about the numbers on a tactics board, it's about the entire mindset. Think of it like this. On one side, you've got the positional school of thought. It's like chess. Every player has their assigned square, their fixed zone. The goal is stability. Everyone knows exactly where they're supposed to be. On the other side, you've got the relational approach. This is more like jazz. It's all about adaptability, with players moving and tilting together towards the ball, staying close and improvising as a group. Brazilian coaches have this just beautiful phrase to describe the relational idea. They call it défendre comme des amis, defend like friends. Isn't that perfect? It's not about sticking to your designated spot. It's about staying close enough to help your buddy out. And this defend like friends philosophy, it's not just some feel-good idea. The data shows it makes a massive difference. Teams that use this relational tilting style get the ball back a whopping 23% faster. Why? Because they're already close to each other, ready to swarm the opponent the second the ball is lost. But here's the thing about football tactics, right? Nothing is ever safe, the game never stops evolving, and just as these defensive structures get perfected, the best coaches are already working on new ways to tear them apart. A perfect example is the new goal kick rule. You see this all the time now. The goalkeeper plays a short pass. That's the bait. The opponent tapes the bait and sends their players forward to press high. But it's a trap. The team with the ball plays right through the press, and bam! They've just escaped, and now they have acres of open space to attack, putting that rest defense under maximum stress. And there's another enemy, one that's way more subtle: neural exhaustion. Just think about the sheer mental energy it takes, the constant scanning, calculating, and repositioning. It's absolutely draining. And that's why you'll see a team's perfect defensive shape just completely collapse in the 80th minute. It's not that their legs are gone, it's that their brains are fried. So, with all that in mind, what's the end goal? What does the absolute pinnacle of rust defense look like when it's firing on all cylinders? It's something called shadow marking. And it's basically when a team's defensive structure is so good, so perfectly organized, that the other team doesn't even bother trying to counterattack. They look up, see absolutely no passing lanes, no opportunities, and they just give up on the idea before it even starts. The defense wins the battle without ever having to fight it. So next time you're watching a match, I want you to try something. For just a few seconds, take your eyes off the ball. Look at the other players on the attacking team. Look for those shapes, for that structure holding everything together. Now that you know what you're looking for, can you see it? Can you spot the invisible genius that's really running the game?